What causes violence? Is it rhetoric? Do we need to tone the rhetoric down? Because I'd like to see the rhetoric heated up against lies. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Look, I got an American flag up here over the door because so many of you were complaining about my door being just having really bad construction that I put on it. So there, I put a flag on it. Are you happy now? Now everyone's going to complain. And my mom, who hates heavy metal, well, you're going to have to plug your ears on this one. Theme song.
Never vote Democrat. All they do is whine. We're happy patriots. Pray we're seeking the divine. Exposing the deep state. Love will be our sign. With the best audience ever. Loyal through the grind. Shopping from the rooftops. Flag raised to the sky. My people will never kneel. We're side by side. From sea to shining sea. We're turning the tide. Dog in Exile crew. Going far and wide. Dog in Exile. We'll make you smile. Dog in Exile. On your dial. Dog in Exile. Can't shut me up. Dog in Exile.
That theme song, I wrote it in AI. It took me 15 minutes. Here's J.D. Vance on violence of the left. They've always been violent, of course.
Others, and in the past he has listed Adam Schiff and Letitia James. Do you think there are more indictments coming, and do you think that's justified?
Well, there's certainly going to be more indictments coming over the next 3.5 years of the Trump administration, but we're always going to let the law drive this stuff and the facts of the case and not political motivations, which frankly makes us so much different from the Biden administration, where they indicted not just the president of the United States, but so many people who were just engaged in the basic job of politics, who were engaged in policymaking, who disagreed with the Biden administration. And because that they faced prosecution from that same administration. If you look at the Comey indictment, Martha, this was a grand jury indictment delivered in Alexandria, Virginia, not exactly a hotbed of Donald Trump's political support.
This is the proof that it's not political. And I'm not even sure I oppose political prosecutions. I know the Democrats only politically prosecuted Trump. And now Trump goes after Comey. And as J.D. Vance said, this is in liberal Virginia, or more balanced Virginia, but more or less liberal. He didn't have to go and hunt down a conservative grand jury to get them to go after James Comey. So this truly is non-political. And as J.D. Vance said, we're following the law. He says they're following the law and not just going after political opponents. But I'm still saying I don't have a problem with going after political opponents when they're Democrats who went after you.
There were three requested indictments. The grand jury returned 2 of those 3 indictments. So I think they showed they were judicious. I think that it showed clearly that there were a couple of things that James Comey did wrong. And to the people who are saying that this is all political, I mean, look, if you look at our track record in the Trump administration, there have been people who have been prosecuted who have been political allies who agree with our politics. There have been people who disagree with our politics. We're not letting politics drive this. We're letting the requirements of the justice system and the law drive this. And unfortunately for James Comey, when I look at this indictment, I see a guy who lied under oath, and he'll have his day in court. He'll have his opportunity to prove the other case in front of the jury. But the idea that this is driven by politics, I think is preposterous when you actually read the details of the indictment and the obvious fact that James Comey did lie under oath to Congress multiple times.
Why did he lie under oath? We're going into why are Democrats performing evil, not all of them, but the most in public. Why would a good guy like James Comey lie under oath? By the way, I believe he probably is a good guy. I think if we met him at the office or had a beer with him, he'd be kind of a, hey, there's a good guy. By the way, every evil person I've ever known in some way was also a good guy. That is, they could maintain a conversation. They didn't have these giant evil fangs come out and devil horns sprout out of their head. They were like, hey, good times. Let's have a beer. Let's hang out. Let's even go to church together. Oh, and I'm cheating on my wife. You know, good guys. The idea that good guys can do no wrong. So Comey could be a good guy. He lied under oath. He needs to pay the price for that. It was for politics, and it was under a Democrat worldview that is, I think it's a Democrat philosophy. I'm going to break into this whole thing, guys. I'm going to bust this thing open for you. I'll explain it later. It is why Democrats are evil and Republicans are not. In general, here's Mike Johnson on how they're arguing over the continued resolution because we're about to go into a shutdown. It is the 29th today. Tomorrow's the 30th. That means October 1st. It is shutdown time. And yes, it's going to happen. We're predicting it. And I believe all evidence is pointing to us shutting down. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson on the shutdown.
Yes, it is illegal for illegal aliens to receive health care paid for by hardworking American taxpayers. But they're making the demand to change that. They want to add that back in. That's one of Chuck Schumer's primary demands, to keep the government open, and we're not going to do that. The American people didn't vote for us to do that. We're trying to clean up the system. So
we have to say this over and over again because of an evil lie the Democrats said. The Democrats said Trump wants to cut health care. That's a lie. They're trying to get you to hate him for taking away senior benefits of the poor people that need health care. They're saying he's taken away their health care. Really, he's saying this is a much larger issue of illegal aliens using our health care, and there being a lot of corruption in our health care system. That is the truth. That is the actual motivation.
What they're demanding, they know is outrageous. They know it's far beyond the pale. And look, I challenge anybody listening to us, Jake, go pull this up. You will see there is nothing partisan in what we have passed and presented to the Senate. But Chuck Schumer is doing this for one reason. He is trying to get cover from the far left base of his party because they've been hammering him for not fighting Trump. So he's going to try to show that he's fighting Trump, but he has absolutely no logical basis for doing so here.
Mike Johnson is bringing in logic. There's no logical base for what Chuck Schumer's doing. True. If any politics are playing, it is Chuck Schumer. And he's trying to get cover from his left-wing base because they're yelling at him. They were tearing into him even during the big, beautiful bill, saying they wanted him impeached. They wanted him out. They go, he didn't fight hard enough. He didn't fight at all. Now, one of the good guy Democrats, John Fetterman, who's in the wrong party. John Fetterman, you are in the wrong party. However, though he's in the wrong party, I kind of love the guy. I'm flip-flopping because I dig him, then I don't like him, then I dig him, then I don't like him. Well, he's the only Democrat who's willing to not to break from the party lines from time to time. And I really respect that because it's got to be really hard for Fetterman. He says unchecked extreme rhetoric like labels such as Hitler or fascist will foment more extreme outcomes. And by the way, I kind of disagree with him on that. I could call Democrats Hitler. In fact, I believe they're more Hitlerian. Democrats are more Hitlerian than the right. And that does not cause right-wingers to go kill Democrats, even though we killed Hitler. Got it? So there is a key difference here that I think Fetterman is missing, but I still like the sentiment. He says political violence is always wrong, no exceptions. That's a true principle, and that is logic. So I do agree with that. I don't agree that rhetoric causes violence. I do believe that political violence is always wrong. We have free speech. We have a legal system of government that is made to avert violence, for us to solve our differences in other ways, through debate, through votes, through advocacy, not violence. When you leap from speech to I punch you because you're a Nazi, you've just now ended our system of government. Our system of government is meant to avoid violence. He says we must all turn the temperature down. And I don't believe it is the raised temperature on the left that causes their violence. I do believe their violence. I do believe they're violent. I don't believe it's the raised temperature of calling Trump Hitler. And I'm seeing that now all over mainstream right-wing media by people I respect. Greg Gutfeld, just major politicians, even J.D. Vance saying, tone down the rhetoric. Okay, it's your rhetoric. It's your rhetoric. You call us Hitler. You call us Hitler. I kind of disagree with my party on this one. I might be the only one. I'd love to hear from you all if I'm wrong, because I follow logic too. And I'm going, I can show you a whole lot of right-wing rhetoric calling Democrats Nazis. And I don't think any of you or I are in danger of going out and committing violence against Democrats. That's my big question. If it was mere rhetoric, If rhetoric was the actual cause and the actual tool, where's it at on the right? Because we have plenty of flaming rhetoric on our side. Okay, here's an Axios study, and this one is just profound to me. Axios, which is a left-wing website, says study: the left-wing terrorism climbs to a 30-year high. This is from July 4th, 2025. Left-wing terrorism. So remember, and the ADL called Charlie Kirk a hate group, called it a hate group. Charlie Kirk's TPUSA. So Lucy, someone explain this to me. I did write a little something on Twitter. I'll just read it to you. Speech, hateful rhetoric does not cause violence. There can be hateful rhetoric on the right and the left, and the right will not act out in violence at the same level as the left, as this Axios thing shows. The left is acting out in more violence. Therefore, toning down the rhetoric or cooling down the rhetoric will not stop leftist violence. That's my theory. Not believing others are made in the image of God would lower the bar for acceptable violence. Did you catch that? That's one of my reasons. Because the left, I believe, largely believes the opponent is not made in the image of God. On the right, you have more Bible-believing Christians. We follow a Christ that says, love your enemies, not shoot them, not agree with them. But to not believe the other is made in the image of God would lower the bar for acceptable environments. That is, dehumanizing the other. Having that philosophy makes it easier to go pew-pew. And I'll show you some Democrats where that's definitely the case. Killing the innocent unborn, if you know what I mean, as if you were removing a bad tooth, would nurture an uncaring person. That is, and the Democrat Party is more into the dehumanizing practice of dismissing a human being, an innocent human baby, before they draw their first breath or get a name, to wipe them out from all of history forever. I believe that also calluses the left to be less sensitive about other life, innocent life. Finally, practicing pragmatism, or known as the ends justify any means. That is, if you have a preferred end of, say, win or control government or get power, and it justifies by any means necessary, any means. Shoot Trump, shoot Charlie Kirk, cheer on Charlie Kirk's death, cheat at the election box, invent felonies against Trump. That's pragmatism. That would also work. Ends justify immoral means. If they believe their ends are moral, then performing violence, which would be an unjust mean, they would say, is secondary to their main goal. See how that works? I believe this theory is holding pretty well. So I hope we do heat up the rhetoric, but heat it up against the real cause of violence, which is leftism, Democrat philosophies, and atheism, not a false placebo target of rhetoric. If we go after rhetoric, we may solve cooling down rhetoric, and I believe it'll be a false solve. It will not end the violence. That's my theory. Here's Mays with all the Democrats being very good.
That man cannot see public office again. He is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated. And
okay, he says it has to be eliminated. Does that cause Democrats to eliminate Trump? Is that the cause? Is that the cause? That's what I'm asking my chat. Yeah, and by the way, I don't know. So I'm open-mindedly asking you if I'm wrong or if this really is the cause. Because really, it's kind of rare. Left-wing violence, as much as we see it, you only have one shooter every 3 days. Now, if it was 10 shooters a day or 100 shooters a day or bombings a day, I might believe you. And if these were not complete lunatics and kind of like a normal nurse going up and shooting someone, not a unstable trans person or very isolated person shooting ICE agents playing video games all day and all night. If it was a normal mailman, a dad, an uncle, a prominent businessman going out and doing it, I might believe you. Here's AOC.
I hope these far-right podcasters come to their senses and recognize that this is not war. We do not divide this entire country based on political ideology.
That's the same guy saying we don't divide on ideology right after he says take out Trump. Here's AOC. We're going to have a top and bottom comparison.
On the eve of an authoritarian administration, this is what 21st century fascism is starting to look like. I'm on the opposite side of that. I'm not with the Nazis. People can finger point all they want. Look at the record. Look at the actions of what we are doing. I don't think a single person who has dedicated their entire career to preventing gun safety legislation from getting passed in this House has any right to blame anybody else but themselves for what is happening.
Like we're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Yeah, that's and justify the means. That's pragmatism. He's making my case. That's what I think all of these Democrats believe. By whatever means necessary.
We look today at the left or the right as the enemy. And it's worth us stepping back and understanding how we reclaim a sense of ourself that maybe is not so rooted in politics, which is inherently oppositional.
How about made in the image of God? Let's agree on that all men are created equal, made by their creator.
There has been a permissiveness about political violence, and I do think the President of the United States has to answer for the way in which he's created that culture of permissiveness.
That statement alone and obfuscating what they do and blaming Trump is itself a form of permissiveness. He's covering it up. Here's Jasmine Crockett. When I need me some wisdom, I go to Jasmine Crockett.
To act like, oh, political violence, it's the Democrats and it's the liberals. And it's like, actually, I mean, I'm not going to say that like a left-leaning person cannot be violent, because that would be like crazy to say that somebody can't be.
Yeah, that would be very crazy. That would also be a lie.
But baby, y'all
don't baby me.
Got the white supremacists galore, okay? Like all of them. You got the Proud Boys. You got the neo-Nazis in.
Yeah, I went and lifted up my couch the other day, and I found 3 white supremacists and neo-Nazis right under my couch. You know, you find demons under every doily in the house when you're on the left. I've never met a white supremacist I might have met one in my whole life. I think it was in like 1989. I met a formal one. They act like they're rolling all around. The number one problem in the Republican Party and on the right are all these white supremacists, neo-Nazis running around. They're not there. They're not there.
Inherently, in like who you are, y'all are violent. Like right. Y'all, and most of your violence.
Yeah, my audience. Yeah, we go around we're violent. We go around punching people all the time. Raise your hand. Let me know in the chat below. How many Teslas did you burn this year? How many swastikas did you spray on on synagogues this year? How many statues did my audience topple? I've got an audience of 500,000 people. Surely one person has knocked over a statue. Come on, my people. Time to confess. Yeah, I know they're everywhere in my audience. I know probably 25% of my audience has burned a Tesla dealership, right?
It has to do with people that's got a little bit of melanin. Like I can say all these things because they are true. That's not even just free speech. These are just facts. So don't get mad that I speak the truth and I speak facts, but I literally have never said anything to invoke violence. And I challenge somebody to go and find a clip of a Democrat invoking violence.
Okay, I'm going to go with you on that. You've never used rhetoric to invoke violence. So why is the left so violent? I'm with you. Maybe it's not the rhetoric. Maybe it's something else. Like I said at the opening, it's a philosophy that does not believe that the other person is made in the image of God. I'll bet that's a better contributor than Jasmine Crockett's rhetoric. How about killing the unborn with great callousness and not caring at all before they're given a name or draw a breath, to treat them like you're cutting a fingernail, removing human life forever, made in the image of God? How about number 3? Pragmatism, ends justify the means, philosophy. That's my theory. I'm going to stick with it. Ooh, oh man, this one is really poisonous, guys. This one is going to hurt. You know, my audience, we have a lot of seniors in my audience. Let's check in on these seniors. Look at this nice lady. She has a Ukraine flag. She cares about people. She's an anti-Trumper. Look how nice this lady is.
I don't want to be a violent person, but in this case, I feel like that we just need to, I hate to say the word, but assassinate him.
Assassinate the president. Look at this nice lady. She could work at the DMV. I might hire her as an accountant. She might be an accountant that works for any of us, right? And she just now said something that is extremely illegal to say. I think we should assassinate the president. Okay, nice lady.
What was your reaction this July when the assassin almost got Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania?
I was happy.
Happy that he missed or happy that it happened?
No, happy that it happened.
Oh.
And too bad that it wasn't in the head.
Too bad that it wasn't in the head. She was happy. Look at these nice people. This is like James Comey is nice. This lady seems really nice until she opens her heart and tells you what's rolling around in her soul. And it is straight from Satan. It is straight from the most anti-American evil things. She has a Hitler picture on the left, then Trump with a Hitler mustache, and there's Elon Musk on the right, who made electric cars to save the world, and that was the sin he committed.
What was your reaction in July when an assassin came an inch away from ending Trump?
Disappointment that they didn't follow through. They missed.
This is a nice guy. He looks like anyone who hung out with me at the art department at Point Loma Nazarene University. He looks like any animator I would have hired or worked with in video games. Normal guy. Sad they missed. Sad he didn't follow through with shooting. This is a pretty extremely normal political rhetoric.
They missed.
When she got shot,
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God. It could have been wonderful.
If he'd been shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's laughing. Ha, ha, ha. Look, she's wearing red, white, and blue beads. She's a patriot, guys, saying it's sad they didn't. She's laughing, wishing that they killed the president. She seems like a nice lady. You know, she has a wedding ring on. Look, here's her wedding ring on her left hand. She's a pro-marriage. She looks like someone I would go gardening with, saying, no, so this is the normalization of complete satanic hatred in these nice people.
I can sum it up in one word.
She says drat. She won't even say damn. She won't even cuss. She's a non-cusser. Every person who cussed who I've ever met is a better person than this lady who won't say damn. She says drat. Why?
Or drat that it missed.
Drat that it missed. I won't lie.
Well, she doesn't lie either. That's a comfort to know. Yeah, you don't say damn, and she doesn't lie. She's another good person, guys. Look at all these good people. This is my favorite couple.
Not support violence.
Oh yeah, okay. Now she does not support violence in any way.
In any way. I think I'm gonna let you finish it.
Yeah, long pause. She can't even finish the damn sentence.
Well, I'm so shy and reserved.
Oh, shy and reserved. He's quiet. You know what? I'm loud and I'm blunt and I'm rude. This guy's quiet and reserved. He's another nice guy. People would see me in the office and go, what a big mouth, hateful bigot. Look at this guy. This is the gentle, nice guy. You ready? He's quiet and reserved. Let's hear what he has to say.
My thought was, if he had a good scope instead of a red dot, we would not be going through this.
If he had a good scope instead of a red dot. Wow, what a great, he's got his red, white, and blue shirt on too. These are patriots.
I consider that kid to be a hero. That was an act of a patriot.
That was a act of patriotism as far as I'm concerned. The kid who shot Trump was a hero. Look at this nice old man, nice fellow senior citizen. These people are psychotic and they're mainstreamed and they're everywhere. This is the inhuman evil spreading all through mainstream left-wing America. Here's Mark Hemingway. Trump had a judge presiding over his trial in New York that literally donated to his current political opponent. There was no outcry about that. They want political judges when they're prosecuting and politicized juries when they're being prosecuted. That's another strategy of the left. This is after he's quoting The Atlantic here that says now that President Trump is perverting the justice system into an instrument of political persecution. Jury nullification may be one of the only mechanisms that everyday Americans have to protect the rule of law. They're going to nullify the jury because they believe Trump is so evil that if the jury sides with him, they want to nullify that jury. Here's Elon Musk on the evil of the left.
Unfortunately, what I've learned is that legacy media propaganda is very effective at making people believe things that aren't true.
What would an example of that be?
That I'm a Nazi, for example. And how many legacy media publications, talk shows, whatever, try to claim that I was a Nazi because of some random hand gesture at a rally where all I said was that my heart goes out to you, and I was talking about space travel. And yet the legacy media promoted that as though that was a deliberate Nazi gesture, when in fact every politician, any public speaker who's spoken for any length of time has made the exact same gesture. And yet there's still people out there, and I've never harmed a single person.
He's never harmed a single person, and his reward was to have his Tesla dealerships burned down. He's blaming it on media. Do you agree that it's media? Or is the hatred in the human heart? And lies being planted wide stream across the left and across Democrats. Democrats believe a lie. Their entire party believes lies. Here's an example of the lies. The lies are, by the way, are infecting the church too. Here's Jamie Bambrick, one of my favorite Christian thinkers. 82% of supposed Christian climate activists believe God is embodied in the universe rather than separate from us. The Bible says that God is separate from the creation. We're forbidden from worshiping the creation as the creator because the creator predates the creation. And climate change, even the climate change Christians, 82% believe God is embodied inside the molecules, which is paganism. 73, in case you don't know, I'm just teaching you guys now, divorce that from your belief system if you want to remain biblical. 73% say that the entire creation is made in the image of God, not just humans. So only humans were made in the image of God according to the Bible. So this is biblical literacy. Modern climate activism is a pagan religion. True. Here's Christianity Today. Pantheistic beliefs among Christian climate activists, report suggests. This is how it gets smuggled into even our churches, a pagan idea that you worship the creation as much as the creator, right? And I'm saying we don't do that. We worship only the creator, and the creation came from him. They're separate. I'm going to end on this. I gave money to this, and I want you to give money too if you're rich. If you're not rich, you can ignore this. Just at the very end here. This is Jason Whitlock. Vodi Bakum. This is one of the most influential pastors in my life, who I love. He died at 56 years old. He left 9 children. And we're raising a fund to help support widows and orphans, which is biblical. This is where our money is supposed to go. That's why I donated to this. Vodi Bakum was a biblical Thomas Sowell before it was popular. Vodi provided the biblical authority to stand against woke insanity, even in his own church. He reminded Christians it is not sinful to stand against Marxism and racial idolatry, support his widow and his children. I'm just going to put a link to this. They're trying to raise a whopping $2 million so this widow is taken care of for life, and I support it. They've got $466,000 already. Our family gave to it. I'm going to put a link to this Give, Send, Go in the description, and you're free to give or not. At the very least, if you can't afford it, even more powerful than money is your prayer. We pray for widows and orphans. Pray for the Bakum family. God bless you all. Thank you guys for watching. I don't deserve you as an audience. Be sure and check in the chat below. Let me know that you're there because I care. I'm Doug in Exile.